Hi, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Welcome to another edition of your thought provoking show, your number one non partisan social dialogue, social digest. Another day in the year 26th of May 2018. Welcome once again. This presentation is brought to you by CORE, Congress of Reform in Ethics, presented by your one and only senior citizen, Godwin Ajake. What are we digesting today, folks? What are we digesting today? Very interesting topic. Very, very interesting topic. Systems. What are they? What are really systems? Let me tell you this story. I was once having a chat. With an elderly who is very passionate of Ghana's development. And his concerns were, as a nation, we were endowed with resources, a whole lot of them. Men and women with great abilities, but yet there's very little to show off as a country. And he was worried. And that countries that Ghana started with 50 years ago, in his time, are doing much, much better in all facets of life, in every aspect of life. And look at us. Look at us. We cannot even take care of our filth. And this is an elderly who was worried. Folks, and I said to him, Mr. Ba, it's a systemic problem. We really have a system problem. And he said, no, Godwin. And to put no in Indian language, nahi. Anyway, he's not an Indian. He said, no, Godwin, no. You don't know. It is us. It is us. There's something wrong with our mentality as black people. And he gave an example that Ghana's predicament, Ghana's degeneration, is not peculiar to Ghana, but cut across Africa continent. Which is true. Our problems are not actually related to Ghana alone. It cut across Africa continent. Therefore, it is not any system. It is us, black man nature. It is us. And perhaps you may have such argument as to what really is the cause. Is it us? And many also, just like Mr. Ba, believe it is us. I asked him, what then can be done, Mr. Ba? Did that mean we are doomed as Africans? I asked him, what then can be done? Did that mean we are doomed? We are doomed as Africans. And also added that in case he has the opportunity to be the president of Ghana, what would he do? What would he do to transform Ghana? He then elaborated the measures he will put in place to transform Ghana. He elaborated. And he was really, really feeling good about his opinion, about his plans, and even swore that He swore that until those measures were put in place, we will continue to suffer as a nation. He even swore. So I said to him, Mr. Barr, based on all that you've narrated, oh my God. So I said to him, fellow citizen, I said this to him, Mr. Barr, based on all that you narrated, all that you will put in place to transform Ghana, if we are really to look at the causes or the cause of Ghana's predicament, and for that matter, Africa, can we also say that the absence of your laudable ideas happens to be the cause of Ghana's predicament and not the people, as you earlier mentioned? Based on all your plans, all his plans, everything that he said he would do to transform, can we also say that the absence of those plans, those brilliant plans, happens to be the cause and not necessarily the people? And guess what? That got him thinking and did not alter a word. It got him thinking and did not alter a word. Debating the root cause of numerous problems and challenges that confront us as a nation, many misdiagnose the problems and attributed whatever it is to black man's nature. To black man's nature. They fail to acknowledge that human nature are environmental determined. They are definitely not genetic. They are environmental determined, based on the type of system in practice. Others are of the view that people are meant to control systems. Therefore, it had nothing to do with the system of governance. Folks, this is a very, very gross misconception. Very gross misconception. Systems are not meant to be controlled but obeyed. Let's first of all find out what a system is. Let's find out what a system is. What is a system? A system is defined as an organized set of ideas or theories or a particular way of doing something. And this is to enable us achieve a particular result. We are all governed by some form of a system. The whole universe is governed by a system. In fact, if you don't have one for yourself, if you don't have a system that governs your life, you may perhaps be using somebody else's system. Folks, systems controls us as individuals, forms the societies we live in. Systems directs our path to riches, happiness, or directs our path to poverty. Folks, And once again, systems are not meant to be controlled. They are definitely not meant to be controlled, but obeyed. Folks, they are not meant to be controlled, but what? Obey. Let us also look at the definition of what control is, which is the ability to make something or someone do what you want. That is what control is. The ability to make something or someone do what you want. Not what they want to, what you want. Systems are designed to help us achieve a particular result. In itself, it's a result-oriented mechanism. It's a result-oriented mechanism. To achieve the intended purpose, one must subject he or herself to the dictates of the system. Therefore, allowing people to control system, meaning giving people the ability to make the system do what they want and not what the system is created for, creates a conflict of interest. It creates a conflict of interest. As a result, undermine the purpose of the system. Because anywhere human being goes and there's a conflict of interest, humans always tend to hold on to their interests and not the interests of whatever it is. They tend to hold on to their interests. Folks, may I ask you, I always ask this question. With respect to control, a man driving a car, perhaps if you driving a car, your own car, right? Is the man in control of the purpose in which the car was built, or in control of the system that is made up of the car? Are you in control of the purpose in which the car was actually built, or the car itself? Are you in control? You see, in life, everything is governed by system. Everything. Whether you want to be rich, you poor, whatever it is that you want to be, there are systems, there are principles that are actually meant to achieve that. And those who achieve whatever it is, they subject themselves to those principles. In fact, if you want to be rich, there are principles. Okay? It's either you what? Some of the principles is either you think, put measures how to steal. It's one of the principles. To put in measures to work hard for it is also a principle. So one way or the other, you must subject yourself to such principle. If it's a stealing, you must think and plan and put measures how to steal. That is why armed robbers, when they just stand up, they don't just stand up and go. They put in measures. Some, they will even plan. They will have all measures down. They will have a system down to go and steal. And that is life. And to achieve the end result, we must subject ourselves to the dictates of such a system. So I ask, a man driving a car, is he in control of the car or the purpose in which? In fact, what we are in control of as human is the result of whatever it is. If you want to be educated, okay, in whatever discipline, you must subject yourself to that discipline. If you want to be educated in mechanics, you must subject yourself to mechanics, to mechanical system. If you want to be educated in, let's say, in health, in medicine, you must subject yourself to medical system. Whatever it is, you must subject yourself to it. After you are educated, after you have the result, you are now a mechanic. That is what you have control of. You can decide to throw it away and go and play football. Okay? So therefore, a man driving a car, what we are in control when we are driving a car, we are not in control of the car, the system that made up of the car. No, we are in control of the purpose. Because the purpose of the car, okay, the purpose of the system that forms the car is to move the car from one place to another. That is the purpose. That is the purpose. Ours is to subject ourselves to the dictates of the system that is made up of a car. Let us take this. Let us take an automobile, which is a car, for example. Okay? The purpose, okay, in which the car is actually built is to move from one place to another. Folks, that is the purpose. Is to move from one place to what? Another. And it's also meant to ease our mobility. To achieve the purpose, one must obey he or herself to the instructions of the system. So we are not controlling the car. We are just subjecting ourselves, not controlling. We are subjecting ourselves to the instructions set forth for the system. That is by turning the ignition on, engaging the hand clutch to first, at the same time depressing the leg clutch fully, and by releasing the leg clutch to a half gauge, folks, by releasing the leg clutch to a half gauge and depressing the gas pedal, you have the system working effectively, in turn serving the purpose. This is it. When we sit in our car and then we put in the ignition and then we put in the clutch to fix and we do all this thing to get the car to move, we are not controlling the car. We are just subjecting ourselves to the dictate. Because the person who created the car, this is what the person said. This is the instruction the person put forth to get the car working. And in order to get the car working, what we are doing is subjecting ourselves to it. And it is only by doing that. It is only by doing that. By subjecting ourselves to the dictate, the principles that was actually set for me to have the purpose achieved. You can't just sit in your car and decide to clap your hand and get the engine moving. Or talk to the car and say move. Even if you talk to the car and say move, it is somebody who created it. So by saying it, you are subjecting yourself to the instruction. This is it. So we are definitely not controlling it. We are subjecting ourselves to the dictates. To the dictate. Let's go back to the car. At the same time, to expedite the purpose, to make the car run faster, is also reliant on set of instructions. According to the instruction, you put a clutch to fetch, and then you take it to second. Whilst you are doing that, your leg is still on the gas pedal, and then you take it to third, and then you bring it back to fourth, and then to fifth, and then you have the system performing fully at the maximum efficient, serving its purpose. Serving its purpose, folks. This is it. When one tries, folks, when you try to control the system, controlling means doing what you please, doing what you want, but not the instruction being set. When one try, and in the case of a car, we all know those who drives in them, instead of moving your clutch from first to second, and then to third, and then to fourth, and then to fifth, you decide not to obey any instructions. Therefore, you move from fifth, second to fifth. You know what happens. Those of us that drives, if you decide to do what happens, what you want, you decide to control the system. By not what? Moving the clutch from what? Second to third, and then to fourth, and then to fifth. And then you decide, I'll just decide I'm moving from second to fifth. You know what happened. Automatically the system is undermined. And when the system is undermined, what happens is the purpose is also undermined. And we know those who drive, move from your clutch from 2 to 5th automatically, or straightforward, manually. 5th to this, you know what happened. You find a car jacking, slowing down its purpose. Because there is a conflict of interest. And quickly, when that happens, what do? We quickly bring the clutch back to second and try to obey the instructions. Because it is only by obeying the instructions set by the engineers of the system that will get the system running effectively. Folks, that will get the system running effectively. So therefore, when you set up a system and you do not put measures, and you do not put measures for the operators of the system to take the fall for their folly, all right, to be responsible, not obeying the instructions, what happened in the tendency is that they will do what they pleases. In the case of a car, because we directly take the responsibility of not doing the right thing, and the effect is binding on us, we quickly do the right thing and then bring the clutch back to 5th and then try to do the right thing. Can you just imagine when you are driving and the effect is not binding on you, folks? And instead of moving from second, okay, to third, and then to 4th to 5th, you decided to move from what? Second to 5th. And the effect is not binding on you, but it's binding on the car. Majority of us will drive like that. And eventually we'll end up destroying the very system. Destroying the car we are driving. But we do the right thing because immediately the effect is binding on us. Immediately the effect is binding on us. We feel the effect of not doing the right thing. So therefore, what we do, we correct it. So when we set up a system, no matter what system it is, and the effect of not doing the right thing is not binding on the people, the tendency is that they will do it, and they will do it, and they will do it. Just as our system of governance that we have, which the effect of not doing the right thing is not binding on the people who are supposed to run the system. It is not binding on them. So they will do it. The effect is rather binding on others. So the tendency is that they will do it and they will do it. No matter for decades of independence, okay, there's nothing to talk about. Because, you see, when we were enslaved, actually, the whites didn't actually, apart from using a draconian measures to deal with us, they also have a system. And in fact, it is a system that actually does the real enslavery. They had a system. They orchestrated a system to enslave us. They put down systems to enslave us. So it is the system that is doing the job. While we gain independent, and just yesterday, we just celebrate AU, Organization Africa Unit. While we gain independent, and we think it's the whites that are enslaving us, and then we sack the whites, we did very little with the system they put in place. Very little was actually, we did very little. So whilst we put our own people there to run on the same system, they end up enslaving us. In fact, they do the worse than even the whites. They do the worst. They end up enslaving us. Very little, because for some reason we thought it is a white, it's the presence of the white. Today, they are still enslaving us. They still put up system and then tell us, oh, we have this system for you, and you need to be part of the system. So they are sitting down in their house and they are still enslaving us. So in a nutshell, what they need to do, they just need to go in bed with the operators of the system, our government. And the system is just running, and they are just enslaving us. So this is what happened if you set measures. If you do not ensure that you put in measures that not obeying the instruction is also binding, the tendency is that they will corrupt. Interestingly, so therefore systems, folks, are meant to be obeyed, not to be controlled. Interestingly, obeying systems, folks, we have systems all over us. For instance, timetable. When you put up timetable, what is it? It's a system. And it's a result. Systems are result oriented. What is a timetable for? It's to guide you to achieve a particular purpose. And you and I know the only way you achieve such a purpose is by subjecting yourself to the dictates of the system, of the timetable, and not doing what you like. You and I know this. Interestingly, as I said earlier on, obeying system, these are the benefits. Obeying system provide the following benefit. Folks, A, it becomes second nature to us. Second nature. In the case of a car, okay, whilst we obey the instructions, okay, of the car, we obey it constantly, it becomes second nature. And what happens? We do them, okay, unconsciously. We sit down, we sit by the car, and then you just park, and then anybody who started driving first, you know how it is like. Okay? Because it's not second nature to you, automatically what happens is you have to use all your processing power, 100%, on doing what? But when it becomes second nature, you use about 30% on driving, and your processing power, your brain power, is also thinking of another thing. That is the benefit of obeying systems. Become second nature enabled us to multitask, achieving 1, 2, 3, much more things within a specific period of time. And we develop much faster than we can imagine. Multitask. This is what it is. It becomes second nature to us. All right? Obeying system becomes second nature. And it gives us that ability to multitask. I've heard of this story. Most speakers actually refer to women, being able to multitask than men. I've heard such story. Perhaps you've heard such before. Most speakers will tell women are able to multitask by nature. They are able to multitask. And any time I hear of such stories, such example, okay, do you know the example they put in place? They will tell you when a woman is cooking, all right, at the same time when she's cooking, she's taking care of the kids. She's also talking to the friend on phone and blah, blah, blah. So therefore, women have the ability to multitask. But when the men goes to the kitchen, you see them cooking and they don't want to talk to anybody. If they have a phone, their phone ringing, they say, man, I'm cooking. Even if they heard their name, they say, man, I'm cooking. And this is the example they give. What they fail to acknowledge is that women have been part and parcel of kitchen throughout their birth. They've been cooking since they were young. They've been in the kitchen since they were young. So it's been cooking now is second nature to them. Where a man have to think at which point in time to put salt, a woman already know. When a man have to think at which point in time to put pepper, the woman already know. So they don't need to exact 100% of their processing power on cooking. Cooking is second nature because they've been doing it all the time. At the same time, look at women who don't cook. They will go to a kitchen and they will spend a whole lot of time and they do nothing else. The same time, look at men who cook and they've been doing that all of the time. It is because obeying, to be able to multitask, it's because you've been doing one particular thing for a long time, so it's now a second nature to you. So doing it, you don't need to exact all your 100% processing power on it. You can give it about 30 and spend the rest and be thinking of something else and be using it for something else whilst you are doing it. So this happens to be the benefit of obeying system. Second, it forms our attitude. It instills in us some form of discipline which we passed on from generations to generation, placing our development in a linear manner, not in a loop, just as we've been doing as Africans. Because we've never obeyed any system. Every system that has been set since that we've abrogated those systems all the time. So things that we are supposed to do 20 years ago, we are doing them now. We are in the 21st century and we are now finding a way to handle our filth. Meanwhile, in the olden days, we have a system that we've been using to handle our filth. If we've been doing those systems for this time, they will be second nature to us. And we don't need to spend a lot of money. Everybody knows what to do. But we've abrogated them. So in the 21st century, we are doing things that we're supposed to do 20 or 40 years ago. Fellow citizen, obeying systems happens to be the attributes of individuals and countries that are doing well in endeavors today. Individuals and countries that set measures for systems to be obeyed achieve much better, faster, and efficiently than those that allow systems to be controlled. In other words, abused. As in the case of our system of governance in Africa and Ghana. There's too much room for the trustees of our hard-working capital and the nation's resources to misbehave. There is too much room for them to misbehave. Having a governance system that is such that the same officials we entrust our capitals to and the nation's resources to should be the same people to approve to themselves, investigate themselves, report to themselves, and prosecute themselves, whip themselves in their butt when they step out of line. Folks, whip themselves when they step out of the line. This is what gives them the audacity to control the system. In other words, misbehave to their advantage and to the detriment of the whole nation, to you and I. A crucial determinant of any success is, being it a nation or whatever, a crucial determinant of any success, of any nation or any individual success is the nature, meaning the type of the compositions of rules and norms to control behavior. A crucial determinant is the nature of the rules and norms to control behavior. That is the most crucial determinant of any success. Folks, let us all call for this department, these measures, Parliament, the independency of Parliament, even the independency of the police in our governance system, or we die trying with this arbitrary and totalitarian system of governance. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you. Watch out. More from Social Digest. For much more presentation from Social Digest, brought to you by CORE, Congress of Reform in Ethics. Watch out. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you. Thank you.